2 weeks, there has been a disturbing resurgence or record of increasing cases as well as death of measles infections in the regions of the country. The reoccurrence of this infection leaves health workers worried as they call on the population and especially parents to get their children vaccinated as a sure preventive means. In the next or following report, Ekokobe Remi Carol brings to us the situation or statistics on measles in Cameroon and especially what is to be known about this infection. Her report.
Due to another outbreak of the measles infection, Cameroon has recorded a number of 214 infected cases, 1,347 suspected cases, and 4 deaths within few weeks. Analysis revealed by the expanded program on immunization in Cameroon speculate that these cases are from 7 out of the 10 regions in the country, with localities like Yokaduma in the east and Tui in the central region topping the chart with the highest number of cases. Sources disclose that 78% of these victims are aged between 9 months to 9 years, and 75% have not been vaccinated against rubella and measles. Health practitioners explain that the first cause of measles is the non-vaccination of children against the infection, which is sometimes due to parents' ignorance or negligence. Measles is a childhood infection caused by a virus. It is a highly contagious airborne disease. It remains a significant cause of death among young children globally, despite the availability of a safe and effective vaccine to prevent it. Health officials urge parents to vaccinate their children so as to prevent this infection, since there is no treatment to get rid of an established measles infection.
Away with the problem of the resurgence of measles infections in Cameroon, let's now look at the problem of housing. The problem of housing policies and its implementation on the African continent has come under review in Yaoundé on the occasion of Shelter Afrique's annual meeting taking place currently in Yaoundé. The exchanges between experts on housing issues and policymakers is aimed at seeking a way forward to the proper implementation of quality habitat policies in the African continent. We get details of this story with Ate Bonaventure.
There exist well-designed and appealing housing policies in most African countries, yet owning a decent house is still an unattainable goal for thousands of households because of poor implementation of laid-down terms of reference.
It's not of any use to have a good a document that is well written, well structured, with good intentions. Intentions have to be financed, the roles and responsibility have to be cleared, and then there will be a system to monitor to see if the policy is working or not and make the changes. So a lot yet to be done there to really change the way in which policies are designed, developed and implemented.
This symposium that has brought together stakeholders in the housing sector from across Africa is aimed at exchanging ideas on how countries can better match words with action and set up new perspectives.
So you have to start with the intention to start making changes. Some of the, I will not name necessarily countries, but some of the good practices that are emerging is that they structure those interventions in their annual budget, so that they know every year they have to actually contribute or finance this type of development, and that roles and responsibilities are clear, and that there are institutions that are following up.
The different debates and presentations focus on themes such as the role of housing policies in Africa and why housing matters in Africa's economic transformation.
The international community has today observed or celebrated World Widows Day, a day dedicated to showing solidarity with women who have lost their partners. In line with the observance, the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Professor Marie-Thérèse Abena-Ondua, made a press declaration to denounce malpractices against widows while highlighting some measures that have been taken to guarantee their well-being. Let's hear more in the following excerpt.
The ill treatment of widows and their children is one of the most serious human rights violations and one of the major obstacles to development today. The Criminal Code of July 12, 2016, whose relevant provision punish with imprisonment and fines cases of physical and psychological harm to widows. These include inhuman, cruel and degrading acts committed by the perpetrators of widowhood rights. The vulnerability of widows is further aggravated by their poverty or destitution, often as a result of dispossession by in-laws. The Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family, for its part, will continue its action in favor of the widow. This includes raising the widows' awareness on their rights, building the capacity of widows to set up income-generating activities.
Over in the far north region of Cameroon, a workshop of members of the Electoral Commission of the Chamber of Agriculture, Fisheries, Livestock and Forest of Cameroon has taken place in Maroua, chaired by the governor of the region, Mijiawa Bakari. This is in accordance with a decree signed by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development on May 31, convening the Electoral College of the Commission. The law sets conditions for the chamber executives to follow. According to the Director of Surveys and Agricultural Statistics, they are called upon to facilitate exchanges between producers in the rural sector and the government, and equally to create a proper food security strategy in Cameroon. Cultural news, we have Mange Venasius bring us to the launching of an album or a music album launch titled Lily by Lily Washington. It took place over the weekend here in the city of Douala, with the artist on her third album still seeking or trying to set her impact on the music landscape in Cameroon. Let's have details of this in the following report by Mange Venasius.
It is a new name in the Cameroonian musical landscape that is gradually leaving its footprints in the artistic milieu. This is Lily Washington, an inspirational and gospel singer. With 2 albums already in the market and still counting, Lily Washington launched a 3rd album recently in Douala titled Lily, made up of 13 songs. With titles such as Alom, Atata, Kulubaze, Movon, Believe, and Glory, the artist says she sings principally on life situations like joy and or sorrows, which in turn heals internally. An artist who embodies a cross-section of musical genres in the country like Bikutsi, Makuta, Bensikin, and other folklore tunes from diverse Cameroonian backgrounds. She has been in collaboration with big names like Longe Longe, Ntumba Minka of blessed memory, and is also leading to the success stage young talent of Cameroonian future generation. that she is working with a rich musical family background from where she drew her inspiration. This native of Ngwe in the Senegal Maritime Division of the Littoral region is equally a promoter and producer for over 8 years now and counting. A producer who believes on hard work and perseverance for the growth of Cameroonian culture.
In news south of Cameroon, we take you to Burkina Faso, where at least 11 police officers have died and 4 others gone missing following a suspected gunman attack on a police unit in the northern part of the country, highly hit by conflict. Also in Mauritania, former President Mohamed Ould Abdelaziz has been jailed by a judge in the country following investigations that tie him to corruption. This comes after he refused to report to the police. Details of this with Rogea Tububa.
Burkina Faso's government has declared an ambush on a police unit in the country's conflict-hit north has left at least 11 officers dead with 4 others missing. According to a statement released by the security minister, joint search operations with the army have been underway. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the attack, though suspicion immediately fell on Islamic extremists who have unleashed unprecedented violence in recent months. Earlier this month, jihadists carried out the deadliest attack on civilians since the insurgency began, killing at least 132 people in the northern village of Solhan. According to figures by the United Nations Refugee Agency, since 2019, violence in the country has forced more than 1.2 million people to flee their homes. The agency added that some 150,000 people have become internally displaced this year and that 84% of them were women and children. Mauritania's former president Mohamed Ould Abdelaziz has been jailed by a judge in charge of a corruption investigation. This decision from a judge in charge of investigating alleged corruption charges comes days after the former president refused to report to the police, as was required by the conditions attached to his house arrest. He denies the allegations and claimed that the charges were politically motivated. His lawyers have repeatedly stated he should be granted immunity under Article 93 of the Constitution. Abdelaziz ruled the West African state from 2008 to mid-2019 when he was succeeded by his former right-hand man and ex-defense minister. Since he stopped ruling the West African state in 2019, Aziz has been investigated for his actions during his 10 years as the head of state, which culminated in a year-long probe that led to an asset worth $114 million being seized in March.
That's how we saw it on this edition of the news, the midweek edition for this week. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow for another edition. Until then, good night. Have a great evening on DBS TV.